Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles, so I'm going to talk about brain rot. I'm going to talk about TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, and its link to actual brain rot. I know a lot of people have been talking about it and been like, hey, these shorts seem to be making kids dumber, chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. But the truth is that there is now evidence that watching a lot of shorts actually will make you dumber and will trigger you and make you give you all kinds of emotional overreactions, whatever. We're gonna talk about this now. I got to give a shout out to whoever, and I'm so sorry I don't have your name off the top of my head, but somebody actually linked this in a post of mine on X, because we're talking about a certain formerly notable comics YouTuber who decided to watch a lot of TikTok and whose brain apparently fell out in the process. Judging by the attacks on other YouTubers, he who shall remain nameless. But yeah, there does seem to be an actual correlation between TikTok and shorts and brain rot. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, hey, if you want more of us, go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfish.com. We're going to build up off-platform because I'm going to tell you, shorts are taking over YouTube. And I don't think it's a good thing for creators like us that do longer form content, that do podcast content, that do adult content. Basically, YouTube wants to compete with TikTok, and they're throwing the rest of us under the bus to do that. I'm going to be honest. And, I mean, it is what it is. We're still going to post over here, but I think anybody who's in the long form video space, the podcast space at this point needs to start looking at some other options, because I don't think it's going to get better. I'm going to be honest. And the reason it's not going to get better is the ridiculous amount of watch time and completion time that shorts have, because again, short attention span, 30 seconds, a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and kids are going to gobble that stuff up. And they did. And that's what happened with TikTok. That's why TikTok was so addictive. And that's why YouTube wants to copy that. But again, they're doing it at the detriment of a lot of their creators that have been here for a very long time. I mean, people that have been doing this a lot longer than we have been coming to us and complaining. They're like, yeah, it's just all shorts. And the thing is that, going to be honest, shorts don't pay very well. So you're going to be left with a bunch of like AI stuff from other countries. I'm not allowed to mention which country, but from other countries, from other geographic locations, and a bunch of scammy ads. And we're seeing it already. YouTube is completely junked up with a bunch of AI shorts type ads. You can't even tell the difference between an ad and a short anymore. And it's all very, very samey, but it's all because of TikTok. So this was on Deserto a couple of days ago. And it is kind of alarming because, I mean, it really, look, I see kids, we go out and they're on their phones and they're just swiping. I can't tell if it's TikTok or shorts. I actually think it's shorts. I think in the area of kids entertainment, if you want to call it that, shorts are definitely dominating, because I think YouTube is more easily accessible to kids than TikTok is. TikTok seems more like it's for, teenagers, young adults, and middle-aged men who wish they were 25 again or something. I don't know. So let's talk about this. Come from Deserto. New study reveals TikTok and Instagram content actually rots your brain. Short form video has reshaped how people consume content online, and a new report from the American Psychological Association now directly connects that format with notable declines in mental health. Wow. Okay, let me reread that. The American Psychological Association now directly connects that format with notable declines in mental health. The study draws on data from over 98,000 participants across 78 separate papers to examine how TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts and similar platforms affect viewers across different age groups. Previous research centered almost entirely on TikTok, but since short-form video is now embedded across every major platform, unfortunately, the authors broadened the scope to measure effects that extend beyond any single app. The study analyzes user engagement patterns and assesses a range of cognitive and mental health indicators. Researchers also compared outcomes between youth and adults to better understand how different age groups respond. Okay, let's look at this. Study finds TikTok and Instagram actually rots your brain. According to the report, heavy short-form video consumption is linked to diminished cognitive function, particularly attention control and inhibitory control. Okay, so it's almost like alcohol, right? So you get drunk on TikTok, and then you go over to YouTube and you make a bunch of posts about people that you used to be friends with. That's because your inhibitor chip is broken. Oh my God. Both younger and older participants who consume higher volumes of shorts videos showed poorer attention spans overall. To explain how these patterns form, researchers point to the dual theory of habituation and sensitization from Groves and Thompson's 1970 work on cognitive processing. Okay, I am obviously not familiar with that. The study notes that constant exposure to fast, highly stimulating clips can desensitize the brain to slower tasks like reading or problem solving. At the same time, algorithmically delivered rewards may reinforce impulsive engagement and instant gratification. Basically, it's gamification. That's the theory behind it. You're being rewarded, but your brain is getting brain candy. That was a good movie, by the way. I love The Kids in the Hall. Brain Candy. Well, watch it. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. It's good. But your brain is getting rewarded for, upvoting, swiping, upvote, leave a comment, LOL, emoji, whatever. And it feels like all of this is designed to make us dumber and make us more dependent on technology. And I know it's kind of a tinfoil hat theory, but I've been thinking a lot about technology and the advancements in AI and, what the possible end goal could be. And it's like, oh yeah, just make people dumber so they consume and believe anything, make them easier to control. So let's, I know it's a wild theory, and I'm not saying that was what was behind TikTok, but the government was concerned about TikTok enough, especially who was running TikTok, that they're like, yeah, we really need to look into this. But I can believe it. I mean, it's the same thing they told people with television, but I think it's true to some degree that having too many choices and just flipping through the channels, definitely limits our attention span. And, there's a difference between TV viewers who grew up in the, 50s, 60s, 70s, where there weren't as many choices. And then those of us that grew up in the 80s, 90s, when we had cable and we had more choices, and you could just like flip through the channels until you found something to watch. And now people have infinite choices. It's not just, 37 channels and there's nothing on. It's like 37,000 channels and YouTube channels and radio stations, right? It's information overload, and our brains are not designed to process that. I think we need to be cognizant of what is going on. And the whole thing is about marketing to us and controlling us, in my opinion. But we need to be cognizant about what's going on and find time to disconnect from maybe not just screens, but at least the internet, because it is designed to make us dumber and more compliant, right? To market to us or to control us or whatever. And look at all the other mental health issues. A lot of them came from TikTok. I think they knew this, and a lot of these, far left talking points and everything came from TikTok. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when if the Ellisons take control of it. It might go the other way. But again, you get people hooked on it, and then you start introducing ideology into it, just like children's programming, everything. And it's very addictive, and TikTok especially was designed to be addictive. And I can see this being used as sort of a bioweapon, right? I mean, it sounds like a crazy theory, but it might not be an actual virus. It might not be an actual physical thing, but it is affecting your physiology and your ability to think clearly and reason clearly. And you need more of an attention span to take a look at a situation objectively and come to logical conclusions instead of just a knee-jerk reaction, upvote, downvote, rage tweet, whatever it is. So yeah, I can see this being sort of a mental bioweapon. Just saying, if you had certain actors that were interested in subduing and controlling a population, I'm just saying, if you want to go down that rabbit hole. And I'm not saying it's true, just a theory. The report says this form of consumption stimulates the brain's reward system. Okay. Researchers also developed an assessment scale for short-form video addiction designed to help future studies measure dependency on the platform. The authors conclude that short-form video's widespread presence makes it critical to understand their impact on cognitive health and behavior. They note that the findings establish a foundation for future research into how these platforms influence daily life. People aren't the only thing that can get brain rot from scrolling on the internet. A study back in October revealed that AI chatbots can suffer from it. Wait, I gotta look at this. Oh my God. So ChatGPT gets brain rot by scrolling the internet all day. Anyone who's worked with it, and look, we work with AI to a certain degree to help. We've got some other businesses so to help with writing and help with reports, to help with that kind of stuff, right? You need to babysit every AI thing you work with. And, people are going to be like, you're talking out both sides of your mouth, because one side you're like, AI is pretty cool. The other side you're like, it's dog shit. I'm like, no, the truth is in the middle. It is a useful tool, but you have to babysit it. And part of it is because it's being trained on brain rot, AKA Reddit. So I got to read this. This is crazy. I missed this. According to this new study, large language models like ChatGPT are susceptible to brain rot just like humans if subjected to trivial content. I did a search the other day. I was talking about Arcade Fire. That's actually one of my favorite bands. But the husband-wife team that are, lead singers, songwriters, they're breaking up, right? There were some accusations against the husband. I'm guessing something actually did go down. Long story short, they're breaking up. I posted about it on Twitter. I'm like, oh yeah, I missed this. RIP Arcade Fire, because usually when you have a husband-wife team and they break up, that's the end of it, right? It's over. So I went out to Google and I was searching for other husband-wife teams that maybe survived the breakup and they went on to record. And the only options we got Fleetwood Mac, obviously. Well, they weren't, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks weren't married, but they had a messy breakup. We got Rumors out of it. So there's that. But they also said Simon Garfunkel were married, but they continued to record together occasionally. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I screenshot that because I'm like, this is Google's Gemini. This is the AI overview. If you're looking for stuff, I mean, it's just a very good indicator that this shit's just not, it's not something that you can count on, right? I'm just saying. So apparently the chat bots are getting brain rot too. Brain rot has become one of the internet's favorite terms. As you might think, it relates to rotting your brain with content that might not make any sense or have any benefit for consumption. It's incredibly popular on TikTok, for example, where short videos are consumed in quick succession. Yes, to desensitize you to thought. ChatGPT can become obsessed with it too. A study from researchers at Texas A&M and Austin, which actually I would argue that Texas A&M and Austin are probably feeding some of the brain rot to people, but I digress. Now I'm going to get all kinds of hate in the comments, I'm sure. They've had different artificial intelligence models with trivial content. This as per the findings, all four models, Llama, Qwen 3, 4B, that were test showed some sort of cognitive decline. Meta's Llama model was most affected by its diet of brain rot content. So Facebook is shit because of this, as its reasoning capabilities suffered drops. It struggled to understand context and ignored safety standards. Brain rot worsens with higher junk exposure, a clear dose response effect. Interesting. So the artificial intelligence is becoming less intelligent by consuming the brain rot on the internet. That's crazy. We're actually making the robots dumber just by existing. This explains so much, but yeah, just to put this out there too, real quick before I wrap it up, there's a lot of discussion about YouTube ads, and I can tell you that the ads for long form content have totally cratered, for the most part. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com. But I think what's going on is they're pushing a lot of the ad spend over the shorts, but they're also pushing it to Hollywood content, because the Hollywood content is quote unquote brand safe or whatever. And they probably have a backdoor deal with these guys. Like, hey, we'll promote the Tonight Show, but you're going to spend so much money on, NBC advertising or Universal theme park advertising or something. I guarantee you that's what's going on. Anyway, if they're going all in on shorts to get to the kids, according to TubeFilter, kids have the best ad recall on YouTube long form videos because those kids are smarter. They haven't suffered brain rot. So, but yeah, it is true, because if you're listening to or watching long form content, you're going to be more invested. You're not going to mindlessly scroll through stuff. You're not as desensitized. You're usually listening with purpose. So yeah, I can totally see that, but it's going to be funny if the whole purpose was to get kids addicted to shorts videos so you can sell them shit, and then they don't remember what they watched 30 seconds ago. So it's not going to work anyway, you know, and then you're going to ask ChatGPT and it's going to be stupid too. Welcome to 2025. We need a new internet. I am not even kidding. We need a parallel economy. We need a parallel internet that has not been enshittified with all this corporate bullshit. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.